Hello everyone. In this lesson, we're going to learn about the backend service that we're going to use for this application, how to access that, and how to try it out before you start communicating with it from your Angular application. Let's get started. So for this, go to the resource folder and go to the backend web service document, and then you will see that there are two URL provided. One is Service Explorer, and the specific kind of explorer is used here is called Swagger. There are different other kind of explorer, but in terms of functionality, they are usually similar. And then we have another URL which is called service endpoint. Now this service endpoint is the actual URL that we need to use when we are calling this from our application, front-end application. And what it does is this service endpoint provides some functionality. So you basically call a service method or API in this endpoint with particular request, and you get some response back. Now to use this, how do we know what kind of request and response this particular service supports, and how to call them, and how do we try them out? So that is where the Service Explorer come in handy. The Service Explorer actually provides a graphical user interface where you can try out those requests and see what happens in response to that. So let's go ahead and open the Service Explorer. And then one thing you will notice here that it's basically calling out different resources. So album resource, error controller, file resource, photo resource, user resource, etc. And then also it's calling out some models. So that means these are some of the entities that the service works with. So it has album, it has file, it has photo, it has user, some of the things we previously discussed a little bit. And then in this model section, you will see that it will give actually the more breakdown of how those looks like, how those entities look like on the service. So if you go to the album DTO, you will see that this album DTO will have these attributes: cover photo URL, created by, creation date, ID, title, etc. So now we know how the album will look like, how the comment will look like, how the file will look like. And then under each of these resource section, if you click on this, you will see it will list different methods that you can call for this particular resource. So, and then also what are the type of those request method. So it has get, post, put, etc. So get is used when you are trying to retrieve some data from the server. See, you basically ask for some information and then the server gives you that information back. It's a read operation. So as you can see, we have a couple of read operation. You can call API/albums to get that particular user's album, or you could alternatively do API/album/all to get all the albums that are available. And similarly, under the photo resource, we have some get and some post method. API/photos gives some photos, and then you can do API/photos, then the ID of that photo /comments, and it will give the comments for that photo. So that's how you interpret each of these API methods. Now let's talk about the post and put. So these are usually write operation. The way get is read operation, post and put are write operation. As you can see here, post is used for saving, whereas put is used for updating. So post is used when for the first time you are creating an album, whereas put is used when you already have an album and you want to update some attribute, you will use the put. Now let's try to even execute one of these APIs. So let's see API/album/all. If we try to execute that, if we click on this, it will tell us that it expects parameter ID token, and we can now try it out, and it asks for that ID token. So if we go to our application and if we sign up here, our sign in worked, and once our sign in worked, if we refresh, we'll get the ID token. And if we copy that ID token value from here and use it for this API method call, and then if we click on execute, it executed that request and it gave us back so it said invalid ID token. So maybe I made some mistake in printing that ID token. So it is giving me an error saying that the ID token did not match. So I should go ahead and make sure that I am using the right Firebase application details basically. So I'll go to the Slack channel. And I'll copy this Firebase details, and I will go in our environment.ts file and I will print those details and save, and then I will go to the environment.prod and I'll print those details here as well. And now I will go to the application and I will do logout and refresh, and then I will do a sign up again. And once the sign up is done, I'll go ahead and sign in with that. And after the sign in, if I refresh the page, I will get the ID token value, and I will copy this ID token value from here, and then I will go to the Swagger API and I will try to execute the method API/album/all, and I will print that and execute, and now it's giving us a response with some albums. So that's how we can use the Swagger Explorer to actually understand what kind of response will come back so that we can write our code accordingly. Thank you.